now available in e-readers everywhere. Why 70% of black women are single. Learn the real reasons why 70% of black women are single in this ebook, which breaks down all the reasons why black women just can't get a man. Why 70% of black women are single is now available in e-readers everywhere. In a previous video, I proposed the question to black women: do they want to be a wife or do they want to be somebody's woman? And the reason why I proposed that question is because I understand that many black women out here do not understand that they have to prepare to be a wife at an early age. When it comes down to most black women over the last 50 years, they have grown up in single mother households, and they've grown up imbibing the false teachings of white feminism and black feminism. And because they have grown up imbibing this concept of feminism, they have learned to devalue the role of the wife and not see its importance or see the power of the position of the wife. Because the feminist has told her being a wife has no value, being a mother has no value. Unfortunately, those roles are tremendously important in God's natural order. And when women joined up with the feminist movement, they showed the world that they did not value God and that they valued white feminism and black feminism more than the God that they created them. And God's natural order, it will not be superseded, it will not be changed, it will not be broken. What will happen is the women who joined up with the feminist movement, what they've been doing over the last couple of decades is hitting the wall. And they're sitting there wondering why they're so miserable. And the reason why they are miserable is because they are outside the order of God and they do not understand the position that they're supposed to have in God's natural order. They're following a false doctrine by a false Christ known as the feminists and believing that they can be their own woman when God has a natural role for the woman. And that role in his order is to be the helpmeet and support the man. And the word helpmeet means you are to help the man meet his needs and support him in maintaining and managing his family. That was the natural role that God created for the woman. And that's the role that a woman used to teach her daughter to learn about when she learned to be a wife. Because most women, before the feminist movement, prepared their daughters for the role of being a wife. And they understood that your goal was to go out here and become somebody's wife. But when they started listening to these feminists who were mostly lesbians and mostly outcasts of society, they started believing that they needed to have a job, a career, and be their own woman. This is how women went from becoming wives and working towards the path of becoming wives to becoming somebody's woman. And when you become somebody's woman, that's a man-made role created by feminists and manginas to create a role for women, but it's not a role within God's natural order because the role of the wife has a defined standard in God's natural order. When it comes down to a wife, she is the helpmeet and the support, and she is helping the man meet his needs and meet the needs of the family by managing the family finances for the home, managing the home, and managing and caring for the children and teaching them the culture and the values of God and God's natural order. And that's how a woman is a helpmeet in God's natural order. Now, this woman, she has no defined role. She has no defined position. She has no defined standard. When you look at this whole concept of man and woman, that was something created by feminists and manginas because they did not want to fit within God's natural order. What they wanted to do is create man-made roles that had no definition because they were too scared to make a commitment under God and follow the standards of God as related to marriage. They didn't want to get married because marriage meant, for better or for worse, for for richer or for poorer, till death do you part. The only two ways you can break a marriage in God's natural order is through death or fornication. That's the only two ways that a marriage is broken in God's natural order. And because feminists and manginists did not want to fit within God's natural order, what they did was create this whole concept of living together, being somebody's man, being somebody's woman, and being in this relationship with no defined roles, no defined boundaries. And that's what has people dysfunctional. Because when you look at most black women today, they don't say, I want to be a husband to a man. They say, I'm looking to get a man. And when you say you're looking to get a man, you're not looking for a marriage. You're not looking for a husband. And a lot of people have been indoctrinated to this dysfunctional culture by Madison Avenue and Hollywood, which have tried to confuse people by telling them that the man is the same as a husband when it is not the case at all. A man is an undefined role. This is just a guy who you are living with, a man you are having a relationship with, a man you are having sex with, but not a man who is committed enough to you to say, in the face of God, I am going to forsake all others, and I'm going to be with this woman until death do we part. That's what a man is saying when he is going to marry a woman. He is making a commitment to God that he is going to be with this woman for the rest of his life, and she is going to be with him for the rest of her life. And they are going to commit to each other, and they are going to work together under God's natural order, under God's authority. And the only way that will be broken is through marriage or fornication. And fornication is the way it's broken through sin, because those people are having sexual relations outside of their marriage. But people during the 60s and 70s, under the free love period and the feminist movement, they didn't want to make that commitment. So they came up with this concept of being a man and a woman. And when women say that they want to be somebody's woman, they are selling themselves short, because when you are somebody's woman, you don't have that defined role, you don't have that commitment, and you don't have a husband there who will stand by you. You have a guy there who is semi-commit, who says he's committed, but he's not actually committed to you. Once that man marries you, he is saying, I am committing to you under God. He is the ultimate witness, and I am submitting to his authority, and I am going to care for you in the same way I would care for myself. And you're saying that you're going to care for him in the same way you care for yourself under God. That's what a wife does, and her role as a wife, again, is to help meet the needs of the man, help meet the needs of the family, and support the man in caring for the family. That's what the wife's role is, and that's what mothers are supposed to prepare their daughters to be, wives, because wives have power under the order of God, they have power under the authority of God, and they have tremendous power in managing and maintaining their families, because as the first teachers of culture, they are the ones who are teaching values to their children, and they're the ones who are passing on the values and traditions of God to their family. So that wife has tremendous power. Moreover, she has the ability to talk to her husband about things and get him to see things. The woman, on the other hand, she's not seen as somebody valuable. She's seen as somebody disposable, because the man does not see her as someone he is committed to. He does not see her as someone he has a connection to and is committed to under the order of God. He doesn't see her as valuable. So when it comes down to a woman, if he disagrees with that woman, he feels he can just get rid of that woman and then go get another woman, because that woman's role was not defined. That woman is not committed to him. That woman doesn't mean anything to him. Just like the same way the woman sees the man. She does not see the man as anyone valuable. She does not see him as somebody that she has to be accountable to. In the same way the man doesn't see the woman as anyone he has to be accountable to. What he sees in that man-woman thing is somebody I can just walk away from at any time for any reason. And that's not what God established. When Jesus spoke, he said that it was supposed to be one man and one wife, and that's the way it was supposed to be. But when we have these man-made constructs of man and woman, people believe that people are disposable and that people do not have value as people. The whole feminist movement was trying to say that they were giving women power, but they were taking power away from women because they were taking women away from God and the natural role of the wife. It had them thinking that they had to be somebody's woman, but when you are somebody's woman, you are temporary, and when you are somebody's wife, you are there for life in most cases, if there is not a death or fornication, which leads to end of that marriage. And this is something most black women never got, because most black women who grew up over the last 50 years, they grew up learning to try to be somebody's woman, because this was what was modeled for them in the welfare state. In the welfare state, they were taught, oh, the father can't be in the home, so I can have this man. But that's not what God established. God meant for there to be husbands and wives, not men and women. This whole concept of a man and a woman, when a girl is growing up like this, she is growing up dysfunctional, because when you grow up dysfunctional, you start thinking, I'm looking for a man. I'm not, and thinking that that's going to lead to marriage, but it's never going to lead to marriage, because the man is getting everything he wants, but he does not have to make any sort of commitment to God and follow God's natural order. He's getting what he wants in the terms of sex and terms of goods being bought for him. So he has no incentive to commit under God. Same thing with the woman. And that was what leads to many women becoming unfulfilled, because they wind up never getting married, and men go walking in and out of their lives over disagreements, and because he said something she didn't like, or he did something she didn't like. And when you are somebody's woman, it can end for any reason. Whereas when a marriage, when it ends, it only ends usually through death or fornication. And that's the only two ways it ends under God's natural order, because when God puts two people together, it does not get torn apart, and it stays together because it's under God's authority, and it's sanctioned by God. And when we look at today's black females, they have all been taught to be women, and that's why they cannot find a husband, because in order to be a wife, you have to prepare to be a wife at an early age. You have to decide that you want to be somebody's wife at an early age, and you have to learn the life skills to be a wife at an early age. Moreover, if you are living in a home where you're seeing a marriage go on, you are learning those skills indirectly by watching your father, watching your father and mother interact every day, and that's showing you the model for being a wife. So the person in the two-parent home, which is functional, they have a better chance of being married than the person who grows up in the single mother household. The girl who grows up in the single mother household, what's going to happen to her is that she's eventually going to wind up becoming a single mother, because she has not learned the life skills to be a wife, and all she has learned how to be is somebody's woman. I go more in depth on this issue in my ebook, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. And if you want to pick that ebook up, you can go over to Amazon.com by clicking the link in the description box. If you'd like to help me make more videos, you may donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And that's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.